An American story of unmatched success. From the tracks in Oregon, one man changed the way we run, train, and dress. Now, Phil Knight is writing a new chapter.
These days, people act like every startup is either a tech company or a biotech company. We forget that the gigantic, large-cap corporations of today were the startups of yesteryear. Take Nike, one of the greatest success stories of all time. Today, Nike's a $92 billion colossus that dominates the footwear and sports apparel markets. But when Phil Knight founded the company back in 1964, he was one guy selling low-cost Japanese sneakers from the trunk of a Plymouth Valiant. Over the next 40 years, Knight turned that tiny operation into the world's #1 sports brand, making himself the 24th richest man on earth in the process. I mention this because Phil Knight, the founder and longtime CEO of Nike, from its inception through late 2004, published a memoir earlier this year. I'm holding it up. It's called Shoe Dog, that I think ranks among the best business books and autobiographies, for that matter, that I have ever read. That's why I'm thrilled to have Phil Knight here on the show himself to talk about Nike, his book, sports apparel market, and his life. Mr. Knight, welcome to Man Money.
Thanks very much, Jim. I can tell you in all honesty, it's a great pleasure to be on your show.
Well, thank you so much, sir. I found out about your book in an awkward way. I found out from Bill Walton, who asked me had I read it, the great basketball player. And I've got to tell you, it is a joy to have you on the show. When I heard that you would come on, I have to admit, there are people who I'm just excited to have on the show, and you are definitely one of them. Let me start off by asking you, where do you think, as a shoe dog, meaning that you live and breathe shoes, where is Nike in the firmament these days? We had Adidas just reported a good quarter. Under Armour's always, really kind of hard charging in the way that Kevin Plank sometimes reminds me of you in your early days. But Nike's king. Can Nike stay king with those competitors?
Yes, and we will. We'll compete very hard, and we've got a lot of growth in our future, and I'm very optimistic.
Okay, what is going to become of this industry of apparel when we have endorsements that a lot of people feel are out of control in terms of costs, but are clearly a tremendous driver for sales?
Yeah, well, this may surprise a lot of people, but in our endorsements, at least at Nike, we use a very sharp pencil, and we pass on endorsements from time to time. There was a great soccer club in Europe that we said is just too much. It's not worth it to us. So you can read about a lot of money for the endorsements, including Michael Jordan, but he's absolutely worth it, as is LeBron James.
When you started the idea of Nike, the idea of your shoes, the idea was that if you saw people liking the shoe, if you saw them wearing it themselves, that was a person for endorsement. Has it gotten upside down now where you reach out, some of these companies ask a guy to wear the shoe and they'll pay him?
Well, no, I don't think so. I mean, obviously, some of our best endorsements are the people that we're proud to have them wear the shoes or the clothes for no money. But as I said, we use a sharp pencil, and if the athlete doesn't produce the sales, it's not worth it to us.
I saw today news that the Wolverines of Michigan are going to roll out Nike jerseys with images of Michael Jordan, but then I saw that they were the football players. Is that what you had in mind when you started the Jordan line?
Exactly on plan. No, that's a sarcasm, in case you couldn't tell.
No, I know.
No,
my
it's
friends from Michigan want to kill me if I don't stop you right there. They're baffled. They're baffled. Well, what do we say?
I think obviously the whole industry has changed dramatically from the way that began when I got into it, and the Jordan brand has become a true brand, and it stands for more than just basketball. And so the first football team to wear the Jordan shoes is going to be the University of Michigan, and we're proud of that. And if you saw the clips from the transition when they moved from their old endorsement over to Nike on August 1st, it was almost a riot, like the old days with the Jordan shoes in the big cities. The coach was out there. They had a 250-person marching band, and they were lined up around the block.
My understanding is one of our staff members has a hoop store right near her, and every time there is a new edition of a Jordan, there is a line around the block, and it starts in the middle of the night. How do you explain the staying power of someone who many people never saw play?
Yeah, well, it started out, of course, when he played, and he was the best, and not only probably the best basketball player of all time, but probably the most dramatic as well. And he had a colorful game, and he was a handsome guy, and he spoke well, and stayed out of trouble, and jumped over the moon, and made all the clutch shots. It was storybook. And then Tinker Hatfield designed an innovative product to go on his feet, and then we had advertising with Spike Lee, and the whole thing caught. And it became a brand in and of itself. So, yeah, there are a lot of people buying the brand that don't even know who Michael Jordan is.
There seems to be a bit of luck, too. As you say at the end of Shoe Dog, you didn't go after Magic because you didn't think you had a position, and you went after Ryan Leaf instead of Peyton Manning. So it's not that easy to isolate the next Jordan, is it?
No, it's an art, and you're going to miss on a lot of them, as I pointed out in the two examples that you just said. There have been many, many others, but when it all comes together just right, why, it kind of creates magic.
Is footwear getting too expensive? We were looking online. We saw $225 on Finish Line for a pair of Jordans. Is that? I mean, do we at a certain point does that not fit with the persona of Nike that you created?
Well, I think ultimately we say around here the consumer decides. And he'll tell us that he or she'll tell us, and that the important thing is that the shoes are comfortable and they perform and help you perform. And when they're doing those things, they're worth a lot to a person.
Now, historically, you've not revealed, the company's not revealed how much you pay Michael Jordan. I doubt that you'll do that in this interview, but if you want to volunteer, that's fine. But what are the best deals? How about the when you do the league deals? I think that Nike NFL deal was a coup to get it from Reebok. That was a major move by Nike that really helped.
Yeah, I think so, too, that getting the NFL deal was a big deal. But, again, the NFL wasn't cheap, and we figured we used as sharp a pencil as we could, and it panned out even better than what we thought it would. And I know you asked me what we pay Michael Jordan, and I won't tell you what we pay him today, but I will tell you that the original contract, we paid him $250,000 a year, and Fortune magazine ran a piece that said there's no greater indication that Nike's lost its way to pay that much money for Michael Jordan.
Well, how about what's your involvement? What do you think should be the involvement with Nike in the Olympics? How important are the Olympics to Nike? Because in the book, you spent a lot of time talking about the Olympics, 72, unfortunately, Olympics, but also some of the Olympics where there was great joy. They're important, aren't they?
Yes, I mean, especially to me, who's an old track guy. I mean, the Olympic Games are the pinnacle for any track and field competitor, and it's true in many of the other sports, gymnastics and swimming, and volleyball probably. But you know, the competitive arena is our fashion runway, if you will. That's where we show our stuff and show that it is the best product because it's being worn by the best athletes. And so the Olympics are huge to us. It's the ultimate athletic contest, and we're very optimistic on how we're going to show in Rio.
Okay, going away from those, but just into the athleisure category, are you surprised about how Nike is kind of universally worn all the time? I was down at the World Trade Center today for a documentary I'm doing, and I just saw so many tourists, and they're just wearing Nike. I don't know if they know what Nike is, but it's a brand that has a life of its own that often has nothing to do with sports.
Well, I think obviously in trying to make the shoes and clothes that fit well and are comfortable and that you can that kind of breathe and you can move in, that's what we try to do for our athletes, and that carries over to the general consumer. It can also be a more comfortable shoe to mow the lawn in. And so it gets a lot of crossover. But our ultimate focus is on the athlete and his or her performance. But if we do that right, we get a lot of the other consumers as well.
And how much does technology still matter? You innovate. You had innovation as the reason why you succeeded. Is innovation the reason why you still say Nike is going to be here and big for a long time?
Absolutely. We spend a lot of money on it, and we think we have the best people, and we think we're going to get the best results as we have had for the last 10 years.
Okay, that's Phil Knight, founder, chairman emeritus of Nike, and author of the memoir Shoe Dog. Thank you. Booyah! Jim Cramer here from Mad Money. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube. Click here to subscribe and get the jump on my exclusives with CEOs, plus market news, investing advice, and a whole lot more.